You're listening to Why Is That Radio, the place where you can send the letters you never dared to deliver. Tell me, have you ever felt ashamed of the cracks in your life? A heart shattered after a love that ended too soon. A dream quietly folded away under the weight of daily struggles. A mistake that lingers, whispering guilt and self-blame long after it's past. We've all tried to cover them up, to hide and retreat into the shell of ourselves, carrying invisible wounds no one else can see. But you know something? We often forget this simple truth. It is through those cracks that the light enters. These marks are not signs of failure. They are proof that we have lived bravely, that we have loved deeply, fallen hard, and risen again. So tonight, let us begin a journey of healing together. Let's find strength and courage in those very fractures of the soul. The first letter comes from a friend who calls themselves K Thursday Cow, the hurt mackerel. They write, I am. At my core, the child who grew up without love. It shows in the way my shoulders curl when I walk past groups of people laughing together. It's in my eyes, always scanning to see if I'm bothering someone. It's in the habit of apologizing far too often, even when I don't know what I've done wrong. I never learned how to hold my head high when walking into a crowded room. I don't know what it feels like to be wrapped in a real embrace. Since childhood, I've lived as though I were just a guest in my own life. And then one day, maybe at a school event, maybe at a party, or even just a fleeting story I stumbled upon online, I saw someone different. Someone who laughed freely, sat comfortably on the ground without a care, acted silly without fear of being mocked. They hugged their friends without hesitation, called their parents with ease, and always said, I love you before hanging up. That is the shape of someone who has been loved. And in that moment, I realized, between them and me lies an invisible distance. It felt like standing in the shade all my life, watching someone born under the sun. They shine not because they fight for it, but because they have never been forgotten. And me? I learned not to bother anyone, to hide my feelings, to soothe myself, to see survival as something natural, expected. I was never taught how to be loved. And when I look at them, I don't feel jealous. I just feel sorry for myself. Sorry for the child I once was. The one who lived in silence for so many years, never chosen, never loved fully by anyone. Asterisk, the next letter is from someone who calls herself the younger sister, the girl who often cries. She writes, people often say that love isn't meant to be perfect, that it's about finding someone who can accept both your flaws and your strengths. But what if in reality, the people you care about never really see you at all? What if they only ever see the part of you that bends, the part that endures? I grew up being the kind of person who gives in first, the one who apologizes first, the one who is always afraid of being abandoned. In every relationship, whether friendship or love, I tried to make myself small. I sullen my anger, my hurt, and even my voice just to keep someone by my side a little longer. And yet, even then, people still left. They told me I was too much even though all I ever wanted was to be enough for someone. They said I cried too easily, too often, as though tears were a weakness. But what else could I do when my heart felt so fragile, so full? Sometimes I wonder, maybe I wasn't meant to be loved gently. Maybe my role in this life is to love others more than they could ever love me. But then again, I'm tired. Tired of carrying the weight of always giving, of always bending. I don't want to be the girl who cries in the middle of the night anymore. I want to be someone's safe place. I want to be the reason they stay, not the reason they leave. The radio falls silent for a moment, letting the weight of those words settle. And then the host's voice returns. Soft but steady. Asterisk, the next envelope comes from someone who signs their name. Falling petals on an empty alley. They write, people always talk about love as if it's this gentle, glowing thing, something that heals, that warms. But for me, love has always been a shadow. I grew up watching my parents fight, watching the word love twist itself into harsh voices and slam doors. I saw my mother's tears, my father's silence, and the cold space that stretched between them at the dinner table. And somewhere along the way, I began to believe love is pain. Love is losing. Love is something that bruises more than it embraces. When I first fell for someone, I thought maybe it would be different. Maybe I finally know what all those songs and poems meant. But then they left. Not with anger, not with betrayal, just a quiet kind of indifference, like I had never mattered at all. It hurt worse than rage ever could. Because rage means you once cared. But silence? Silence means I was never enough to begin with. Since then, I find myself afraid to love again. Afraid of that cold silence returning. Afraid that love will never be the light people promise, but always the shadow I've known. And yet, a part of me still hopes. Hopes for a day when love won't feel like a wound I must tend alone. Hopes for a hand that won't let go, for a voice that won't grow quiet. The host breathes in gently, as though holding the weight of that sorrow in their chest. Then they answer softly, asterisk, "Dear friend, I hear you. I hear the silence you've carried for so long. And I want to tell you this. Love can wound, yes, but it can also heal. Not all stories end the way yours began. Somewhere out there, someone is waiting not to walk away, but to walk with you hand in hand into the light you've been searching for." Asterisk, the next letter comes from a listener who calls themselves the lonely one. They write, "Loneliness is not the absence of people. It's the absence of belonging. I have friends. I go to gatherings. I laugh when everyone else laughs. But inside, it always feels like I'm standing a few steps away from the circle, close enough to see it, but never truly part of it. Sometimes I think maybe I'm broken, that there must be something about me that makes it hard for others to stay. Because no matter how many connections I try to build, they never last. They slip away like water through my fingers. I scroll through my phone at night, staring at the empty messages, the unread notifications. I see people talking, meeting, sharing their lives with one another, and I wonder, why not me? What is it about me that makes me so forgettable? I don't crave a crowd. I just want one person. One person who sees me. One person who hears me. One person who says, you don't have to try so hard. You already belong, but until then, I drift. Surrounded, but alone. Laughing, but not alive. A ghost among the living. The studio goes quiet for a moment, the only sound a soft sigh, and then the voice of the host breaks through, gentle, steady, reassuring. Dear lonely one, you are not broken. You are not invisible. You are simply waiting for the right soul, the one tuned to the same quiet frequency as yours. And when that person arrives, you will know, because for the first time, your laughter will not echo back empty, but will be answered with warmth. Asterisk, the next envelope is signed with the name Dust of the Road. They write, life feels like an endless journey, and I've been walking it with nothing but tired feet and an aching heart. I've stumbled so many times. Failed exams. Failed jobs. Failed relationships. Each time I fall, I pick myself up, but each time it feels a little heavier, a little harder. People around me tell me to be strong, to keep going. They say things like, everything happens for a reason, or it will all make sense one day. But on nights when I lie awake staring at the ceiling, those words feel empty. Because right now, I don't see the reason. Right now, I don't see the meaning. I only see the dust on my shoes, the weight on my shoulders, and the road stretching endlessly ahead. Sometimes I dream of rest. Not just sleep, but a place to finally set everything down. All the expectations, all the failures, all the pretending. I don't need glory. I don't need applause. I just want peace. I just want someone to walk beside me so I don't have to carry all this alone. The host lets the words linger, then speaks with a calm tenderness. Dear dust of the road. Every weary traveler deserves a place to rest. And though your journey feels endless now, remember this, no road lasts forever. Around the bend, there will be shelter. There will be peace. And one day, when you look back, the dust on your shoes will not remind you of exhaustion, but of how far you have come. The next letter is signed Withered Grass. They write, there was a time when I bloomed soft, green, full of life. I believed in love. I believed in kindness. I believed that if I gave myself fully, the world would give something back. But over time, disappointment became the rain that never stopped falling. Broken promises, careless words, betrayals dressed as affection, they wore me down. And now I feel like a dry stem on the side of the road. No longer fresh. No longer wanted. Just something people pass by without notice. I watch others glowing with joy, their lives vibrant and whole. And I wonder what happened to me. When did I stop being someone worth holding on to? I fear I have nothing left to give. Nothing left to make me special. I am withered grass. Still standing, yes, but lifeless. waiting for the wind to carry me away. The studio falls silent for a moment as though mourning that fragile confession, and then the host replies, voice steady but tender, dear withered grass. Even when the grass dries, it does not lose its place in the earth. It may not look as it once did, but it still has meaning, still has value, still belongs to the great cycle of life. You are not forgotten. You are not useless. You are simply in a season of rest, waiting for the rain that will help you bloom again. Asterisk, the next envelope is marked by a trembling hand. From the child named Loneliness. They write, I have always been the kid standing at the corner of the playground, watching others laugh but never knowing how to join in. At home, the silence between my parents was heavier than any words. At school, my smile was often ignored, my presence unnoticed. I grew up learning to play alone, to eat alone, to cry in silence. No one ever asked me what I dreamed of or if I was okay. They say loneliness is an empty room. For me, loneliness is a whole house, every wall echoing with the absence of love. Sometimes I wonder if I even deserve to be cared for. If I were gone, would anyone notice? Or would the world move on just the same? The host pauses, voice thick with emotion, then gently answers, dear child of loneliness, I want you to hear this clearly. You deserve love. Not because you earn it, not because you prove yourself, simply because you exist. Your presence matters. Your heartbeat matters. Even if no one around you has seen your worth, it does not mean you have none. Loneliness may have raised you, but it does not define you. One day, someone will sit beside you, and you will realize you were never meant to face life alone. Asterisk, the next letter comes from someone who signs only as the one who carries endless sadness. They write, some days I wake up and the weight in my chest feels unbearable. It's not one big tragedy that crushed me. It's the countless small disappointments, the broken promises, the loneliness that piled up little by little. People often tell me, cheer up, be grateful. Others have it worse, and I nod, I smile, I even laugh sometimes, but inside I feel like I am fading. I've mastered the art of pretending. No one knows that when I say I'm fine, what I really mean is, I'm breaking. No one sees that my laughter is often just a disguise for my tears. I don't want to burden anyone with my darkness, so I keep it hidden. But every night, when the world grows quiet, the sadness returns, louder than ever. It whispers that I am not enough, but I am too heavy to love. That maybe my absence would make life easier for everyone else. The host lets the silence linger before responding with a soft, steady voice. To the one carrying endless sadness, I see you. I hear you. And I need you to know you are not too much and you are not alone. It's okay to admit that you're tired. It's okay to want rest. But don't confuse rest with disappearing. The world may not always say it, but it needs the gentle heart you carry. Sadness may visit you often, but it is not who you are. You are more than your pain, you are someone worth staying for. Asterisk, the next letter arrives on pale yellow paper, with the words trembling but full of hope, from the one searching for light. They write, for as long as I can remember, I've been wandering in a fog. I watch others walk confidently toward their dreams, while I stumble, unsure where my path leads. Sometimes I feel like a shadow of myself, alive but not living. I go through the motions, study, work, eat, sleep. Yet my heart is restless, always yearning for something more. I search for light in books and music and the laughter of strangers. I catch fleeting glimpses of it like sunbeams slipping through cracks, but I can never seem to hold on to them. Deep down, I wonder if light was ever meant for me. Or am I destined to stay in the dark, watching it shine on everyone else? The host takes a deep breath before replying, Dear seeker of light, do not believe for a moment that the sun was not made for you too. Sometimes light does not come in a sudden blaze. Sometimes it comes quietly, gently, a little at a time. Every small joy you notice, every moment of warmth you feel, that is the light answering you. Keep walking even if the steps feel heavy. Light is not something outside you waiting to be found. It has always been within you, waiting to rise. Asterisk, the next letter is written in careful, almost hesitant strokes, from the one who loved and lost. They write, I used to believe love could heal anything. When I found them, it felt like coming home, like every lonely night had finally been answered. We built dreams together. We whispered promises in the quiet. We held each other as if the world could not touch us. But love, as it turns out, does not always stay. It cracked under the weight of misunderstandings, of unspoken words, of expectations we couldn't meet. I still remember the last time we looked at each other, two hearts that had once beat in harmony now standing on opposite shores. I wanted to hold on. I wanted to fight. But sometimes, no matter how much love remains, staying hurts more than letting go. They walked away, and I was left holding the echo of what we once were. People told me time would heal. But time doesn't erase. It only teaches you how to carry the ache more quietly. I still miss them. I miss the way they laughed, the way they called my name. But more than anything, I miss the version of myself who believed love was forever. The host speaks softly, almost as if answering their own past wounds. To the one who loved and lost, your pain is proof that you dared to open your heart, that you dared to believe in something beautiful. Love may not have lasted in the way you wished, but it was never wasted. The memories you carry are not signs of weakness. They are signs of how deeply you are capable of feeling. One day, you will realize the love you thought was gone has been reshaping itself inside you, teaching you how to love again. First and foremost, yourself. Asterisk you. Every single moment you've been strong. Every tear you've shed, every time you've trembled. Every day when all you could do was breathe. It all matters. You didn't give up. You didn't surrender to the darkness, even when exhaustion made it feel impossible to rise. Every time you tried, even if it was just getting out of bed, taking a deep breath, or whispering a gentle word to yourself, you were victorious. You conquered your fears, your cracks, and the pain that once seemed like it would drown you forever. I want you to know that the cracks in your soul are not signs of weakness. They are proof of courage. Proof that you dared to live authentically, love deeply, and feel all the colors of life. They are lights seeping through the darkness, reminding you that everything will pass, every hurt will settle, and you will grow stronger, kinder, and more resilient. Hold yourself close, okay? Thank yourself for living, for patiently enduring, and for daring to love. Allow yourself to rest when tired, to cry when needed, but always remember that you can rise again. Every single day, no matter how small, is a victory worth honoring. You are not alone. There are people who have walked, are walking, and will walk alongside you, even quietly from afar. And most importantly, you have yourself, a version of you that is strong, gentle, and full of potential. Let your inner garden bloom. Plant seeds of kindness, cherish small joys, so that the wings of pain cannot snuff out your light. Those joys, those peaceful moments will blossom, proving that you are worthy of happiness. Forgive yourself for the times you've fallen, but also take pride in standing back up. Love yourself, honor yourself, and gently soothe the scars you once thought would never heal. Life doesn't ask for perfection. It only asks that you dare to live fully, to experience, and to love. Why is it so? Radio sends this message to you, to every heart that has been hurt that still dares to live, to love, and to smile. Let your light shine, let your cracks become channels for sweetness and hope, and know that all the good things are still waiting for you ahead. That's this week's radio message. If you have unsent letters, send them to the mailbox linked in the comments. Don't forget to follow Why Is It So? To catch more stories, letters, and heartfelt words that continue to heal your soul. By. And remember, you've been amazing and you're going to be even better.